Hey Cancer, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. I'm trying something new this week. I'm doing these readings with tarot, more traditional tarot spread, and then we're going to move to the extended for more of the intuitive readings with some other decks. So let's see here. We're going to just get into it. I've shuffled already. Thank you so much for your likes, subscribes, and comments. And also, if I don't catch your storyline or wavelength on this reading, go check your other major placements. And these are general readings. All right. So for the, oh wait, oh my goodness. I feel like I have to recut that. I don't know why, like the surprise is gone or something. I don't know, but we'll take from the bottom of the deck for the overall. Nope. Okay. That's how that's going to go. Okay, this is your past, your present, your inner landscape, what's at issue, your environment, to-do list, and possible outcome. Okay, let's see. In your recent past, we have a lot of reversals here because my deck went a little haywire. So we're just going to roll with those though. So the overall energy here is the Devil in reverse. This was the first indication that my deck maybe had gone awry. So Devil in reverse, this is released from some sort of contract, being released from something that's held you in bondage or some sort of commitment or contract or addiction, something that you haven't had freedom from. You maybe chose it at one point. You maybe chose to engage with something, and now you're being freed of any obligation to that. Any internal pressure to go with that and continue that. So you're being freed from some sort of obligation or some sort of control. It's being released and freed from control. In your recent past, you have Page of Voices in the reverse. This is this might have been you, this might have been somebody else. If it was somebody else, it would probably be a younger person. But this is not being a student, not wanting to learn, not having the knowledge that you needed, not being open to learning, not trying to learn something new, being sort of cut off from learning or not learning. Maybe you're just out of school, but having not a lot of intellectual curiosity about something, not having cared to know the details about something or what's not wanting to read the manual. This would be like just going straight to repairing something and not reading the manual about it. Or not communicating about something. It could be a very non-communicative situation where you didn't feel like you could talk. Maybe you were bound by something. You didn't feel like a contract where you couldn't talk about it. Not knowing how to communicate about something, or very immature. This could have been very immature communication, right? Our pages are already immature, but in the upright, they're more like they're trying to get a handle of things. They're trying to figure something out. They might be trying to communicate, but awkwardly. This might have been a lot of immaturity. So in the past, someone's been pretty immature about communication. Maybe they, and this might have been you or somebody you know. So immature about communication, immature, some people just aren't, I recently rediscovered this. Some people don't have big conversations. I was reading about ghosting, and that's basically what that is. Not wanting to have those meaningful conversations where even though they might be difficult, we still get something out of it. We can have closure, we can grow in maturity and understanding of each other. So there are some people that just really aren't capable of, haven't grown into that yet, of having difficult conversations. So someone here may have avoided difficult conversations. Someone may have, not all avoidance is there's different parties here, right? So someone can have very immature communication, and someone else can be like, no, I don't think so. I'm not going to participate in that level. And then other people would be experiencing sort of a not knowing how to have hard conversations. So avoiding a hard conversation that needs to be had simply because you don't know how to do it. You don't know it's daunting. You maybe aren't aware how healthy that can be, even though they are difficult conversations. You may not have been aware that they can actually be quite healthy and important. So some sort of lack of awareness or understanding about communication, immaturity around communication, whether that was communication that was had or communication that was not had. In the current situation, we have the Hanged Muse in reverse. So some situation that was put on pause because of this immature communication now starts to move a little bit. We can start to complete the action. We got paused, we got hung up on something. Maybe we were thinking about something, but something that's been hung up now starts to move. There's some movement there now. We've maybe in the past you've been immature, but now you understand more. Now you see how you can have the conversation that you avoided before, or how this you can deal with this immature person, and maybe that immature person is you, maybe it's somebody else, but you're starting to see how you can move it forward, how you can learn something. Somebody here's learning something. Maybe it was on pause for quite a while. It was just a pause though, but it was a pause for the purpose not necessarily of rest, but because a lot had to be figured out, a lot had to be understood. I almost want to say like the consequences of the immaturity are starting to be understood. It's almost coming to me as a judgment card or an awakening card of starting to see. And then with that knowledge though, the awakening is just like, oh, I see. But now there's movement. Now that we can see how to have a conversation, or see somebody here is able to move the situation, nudge it forward a bit, because we haven't, there's some understanding now of like, maybe you now see how you can interact with this person in a more healthy way, a more mature way, or maybe the other person, or maybe you're seeing something, you're able to take a moment and understand something and see something that actually helps move the situation that has been stopped and paused. You see how you've learned something and you can pull it out of pause now. Your fears, 5 of voices. This is, normally I say the hopes, fears, inner landscape, but this is, nobody's hoping for this. So I'm pretty confident this is a fear. Having to make difficult choices, not seeing a clear path forward. We even have like an olive branch that maybe, but not see it. There's no clear path to the olive branch. There's no clear way to accept an olive branch. Very difficult decisions. Needing to go inside the path. You're worried that the path isn't going to be clear, that you're not going to know what to do. This could be just thinking about how you don't know what to do, and you have to go, being called to go deep inside, doing some meditation, figuring it out, and understanding. You might be worried that no one's going to be happy in the end, that even though you do see something and you do figure it out and you do see a way to move forward, you may be also quite worried that you can't, that it's not going to work, that no one's going to see a path forward, that there's no way out of this. Like now that you see, now that there might be movement, but you still can't see how it's going to turn out, or how to make it go in the direction you want it to go. You still have a lot of difficulty seeing a path towards peace, and needing to seek the only peace in this situation you might be worried is going to be something that you have to make yourself and for yourself, because the situation itself just doesn't have a lot of an easy path forward. So you're worried about this. You might be worried about how a peace offering or an olive branch is going to be received. You may be worried about everybody losing, nobody being happy in the situation, not even yourself, not being able to even see a way for you to be happy with the end result. What's at issue here? It just came out, these come out sideways. So the issue is emotional maturity. So Muse of emotions, emotional maturity. So we have this like bad communication in the past. And then we have like some movement here. We have worried about how things are gonna play out, or decisions that might be forced, or not seeing a path to peace. And then the issue, what's the issue, is concepts of emotional maturity. Can we hold our emotional liquor? Can we handle the feelings we have inside? And because it's just sideways, it's just a giant big question. Like, can this be handled? Can this be, you know, I see two players here. Are they both emotionally mature enough to handle this, to deal with something? There's a depth of emotion here, and there's some sort of crossing here, and there's some sort of, there's a lot of emotion. I almost want to say that this is everybody's in the same emotional ocean right now. The ocean of emotion. Everybody's in it. Everybody's trying to cross it. Everybody in this situation is striving. I honestly see this as really sweet, because this is like this emotional immaturity here, but now people have sort of seen seen what's going on, and there's movement here, and this is almost like I feel like everyone sort of wants emotional maturity here. Everybody wants to be able to share their emotions, to receive emotional communication with a level of maturity, right? And so our emotions, you know, we let them flow through us because it's information. It's all, I consider emotions to be almost like a physical sense. You know, there is certainly a biological component to our emotions. We feel them in our body, with heart racing, with eyes dilating and undilating. And, you know, we feel the emotions in our bodies. So it is basically, to me, just another one of our senses. And I feel like it should not necessarily get the moniker of sixth sense, but it should be our sixth sense, right? And it's bringing us so much information about how we feel and how to process that. And we have to figure out, our brains figure out how to process it. And some of our brains have been told, are under the impression that we tamp it down, we don't feel anything. And some of our brains are under the impression where we feel it, it's out there. But emotional maturity involves absorbing it, understanding it, and figuring out what to do with it, right? But it's absolutely crucial information that comes in. So I feel like both parties here might actually be wanting emotional maturity. Well, we might have different ideas of what that means and what that is and what that looks like, hence this fear here about there's not really a way forward. So in the environment is Eight of Emotions reversed. So this is really, right here is very important. Now is very important. You don't see, there might not even be some place to go here. Either there's no clear indication in your environment that you're actually supposed to move forward on anything. This actually, you might still be sort of in a blind spot here. I'm seeing with this Eight of Emotions a little bit of this Hanged Muse, like Hanged Muse in reverse, that you might actually still be in your environment. There's something that's still kind of keeping you hanging out, even though you've had realizations and so if you're coming out of a stagnant time or a pause, it's like one step out of it, because the environment doesn't have anything in it that's enticing anybody forward. There's no hints in your environment. There's no clear alternative in your environment. There's no better world showing up in this environment. There might not be there's nothing in your environment that's showing you what's next, what to do. It's just kind of blank here. You're kind of blinded a little bit. The environment doesn't really show any direction, and there's no signs of hope, which would of course have you here. There's not a lot of signs of hope about which direction you need to go. So you're kind of in some sort of bind here as far as like no direction, no hints. There's almost a blinding, you're blind. You can't see where to go next, if to go anywhere at all. So in your to-do list is the 6 of materials. I both hate and like 6 of materials with this 5 of voices, because 6 of materials in reverse is about imbalance. You can allow a situation to be imbalanced for now, and that's what that's supposed to be, because you don't see a clear path, a win-win situation. You're worried there might not be a win-win situation, and this is to accept the reality that there might not be a win-win situation, that there might not be perfect balance in a situation, that you may offer something and the person may not offer an equal measure in return, that it's okay for resources to flow in one direction for a while. So this is like unfairness. It's okay to be unfair to another party is what I'm seeing, because the 5 of voices is here. And this is tough choices and an ability to, you're worried that there's not a win-win situation. And this is saying, accept the reality that there is not a win-win situation, that things could remain very unbalanced, or they could go very imbalanced, and that you might need to be generous without calculation. This is an anti-bean counting also card. Like in the upright, no, this could be maybe bean counting. In the upright, we see like a flow of resources, sharing finances, or sharing something, allowing there to be a lot of flow between people, and that it goes one way and then it all balances out in the end. And this is saying it might not all balance out in the end, and it's okay that it doesn't. And you may have to make some choices and decisions that are a little bit unfair. Unilateral decision making here, but there might even be, though, some bean counting that you have to do here, some accounting that has to go on, some calculations. Oh no, I think this is don't calculate it. The other person may not want to participate, and you have to be okay with that. And this is like, I think this is the anti-bean counting, like, don't worry about the imbalances. I mean, in the upright, we get don't worry about the imbalances because it all balances out eventually. This, I get don't worry about the imbalances because it can't get there. It can't be perfectly balanced, right? Like when I like cut a candy bar or something for my kids in half, they'd be like, "Hey, you got 2 more molecules than I did," right? That's just kids. They're looking for any way to game the system and get more than each other. And one way to do that is to accuse the other of getting more than you. So I would just be like, yeah, well, I tried my best, and yeah, nothing is ever going to be perfectly balanced and even. So at one point, I think I even took out a scale to show them how close like I had cut it. Anyway, so something a little bit like that, like, yeah, sometimes things aren't going to be perfectly fair. And I was like, well, I could shave some off and then shave some off, and we could go all day, and then both of you guys would get a little nub of, like cutting your bangs, right? If you which I do not do anymore, but if you cut a little here, oh, this one's too high, this one's too high. Eventually you get little micro fringe up here, right? So and maybe you didn't want that. So this to me seems like. And I also see like, don't work with this person, or this person might not work with you, or you may not want to work with this person after all. If you're really worried about no olive branch, you don't see how to move forward. Maybe you're wanting this hanged muse, this hangout time to end. You see that you see something, but things may never get perfectly balanced in your mind here. This is an interesting reading with all of these reversals in it. Possible outcome now. Okay, you don't see something that's more appealing right now, but a possible outcome is that you do just leave the situation. It's never going to be fair. I think you need to accept this, that this candy bar is never going to be sliced evenly down the middle, and this could just be it's time to move on. So if this isn't to your liking, If you offer something and that offer is refused, you need to just move on. If you offer something, it's just the Six of Materials in reverse is an imbalance situation, a karmic imbalance. And either you're doing that or you're allowing that to be the truth in the case here. It just may not be fair. And either you get to make a move right now or need to, especially with this Five of Voices here, that isn't fair to everybody. And you may leave yourself out of the equation. You may be like, well, maybe I take this hit right now because it's never going to be fully fair. But this is saying, like, in the future, you'll have more of an option to leave, or you might end up leaving. Someone might end up leaving the situation and just moving on. It's not like, it's a leap of faith away from something that's not satisfying. This looks very unsatisfying. If this isn't right, if it's never going to be fair and it's never going to be even, maybe you just move on. And right, we're talking about overall this being released of some sort of bond, some sort of bondage here. Like this kind of reminds me of, like, if you're fighting in a long divorce, just maybe take a bit of a loss. I mean, I'm not saying to throw the whole towel in, but because that's not advice I can possibly give you. Like, wrong vessel for that advice, okay? But you may have to take a loss. You may have to accept some sort of imbalance, some sort of loss in order to free yourself from this contract, and then just moving on and moving away from the situation, moving away from something that's been unsatisfactory, where maybe you felt you were treated unfairly, you didn't get what you wanted, but moving away from it, moving on, and it's a bit of a leap of faith. It's a bit of a leap of faith. All right, Cancer, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you for your likes, subscribes, and comments. And if this resonated with you, let's go to the extended. The link will be in the description box.